So today is the final day of our retreat together. Already some people have come to say their goodbyes. It's natural for the attention to go to planning, where I've got to go to, how I'm going to get there, what's the journey going to be like, who I'm going to see at the other end of the journey. This is very natural, very ordinary for us. So this is an ideal opportunity to look at that habit of the mind that creates an imaginary future and then goes off to try and live in it, leaning towards the idea of the next moment, when all we genuinely have, all that's real, is this moment. As Ajahn Sumedho would say so many times, yesterday is a memory, tomorrow is the unknown, now is the knowing. So the last day of a retreat, as the mind gives rise to anticipation, maybe interest and excitement or dread of what you've got to go back to, or what you're going to have to relinquish and leave behind. So this is the perfect opportunity to look at that and to consider, to reflect, well, really the future is uncertain. And in this moment, life is like this. The experience of this present reality is like this. It's this way. And we might have all sorts of reasonable and important plans, like, but I have got to confirm my ticket, and I have got to get to the train station on time, or I do need to get to the airport, and my family are waiting for me. Yes, that might be so. But in this moment, it's like this. It's not as though all of our planning and expectation is based on total fantasy. But look at the way the mind makes those future possibilities more real, more significant than this moment, sitting in the shrine room at Dhammaram in Dwarka. This falls away and the attention absorbs itself in the journey, the family, going back to work. Well, this is also the ideal opportunity then to cultivate the anicca sanya, the perception of uncertainty. We might say, I'm going home today. Is that a sure thing? Travel in India is as unsure, if not more unsure, than many other countries. We don't know. So as the imagination gives rise to plans, expectations, hopes, fears, each time that can be met with this steady, quiet reflection. Is that a sure thing? Do you know that to be true? Is that for certain? And then when that reflection is applied, notice what happens to your plan, your fear, your hope. Something in the heart goes, oh yes, of course, aha. There's a relaxation, a realism. Notice that. The realization of non-grasping is nibbana. When the heart stops grasping, disentangles itself from an object, when the grasping stops, here is peacefulness. Yesterday someone was asking about the use of inner listening, what is called nada yoga, the listening to the inner sound as a way of supporting both samatha, concentration, and vipassana, insight practice. So if we turn the attention to the faculty of hearing, behind the sound of the fans and the air conditioner, behind the sound of my voice, if you listen closely, most people are able to discern a steady, consistent, high-pitched tone in the background of our hearing. It doesn't have a beginning or an end, it just carries on. It's not personal, it doesn't respond to individual choice. I can't make it louder or softer, it's just like this. We can pay attention to it or not. It's like the force of gravity. It's non-personal, ever-present, not subject to personal will. You can't make gravity stronger or lighter. It's just this way. So we can use this inner sound, this nada, as a way of keeping track of the arising of those expectations, fears, hopes, plans. Can't wait to get home. There's the nada in the background. I'm dreading going home. There's the nada in the background. Next week I've got so many things to do at work. The nada is there in the background. I'm really looking forward to that travel. Back to see the family. The nada's there in the background. I'm dreading seeing the family. The nada is there in the background. So it keeps reminding, empowering that insight into the empty nature of all conditions, all sankharas, mental formations. A plan, a memory, an emotion, they're all empty. And the presence of the nada helps the mind to remember that, to notice that. Each formation that arises is just this way. It's thus, such, tatata. There is suchness. That's all. This also helps us to recollect that the world happens in our mind. The world we experience, whether we're sitting still in this meditation hall, this shrine room, we feel, we hear, see, smell, taste, touch. All these arise and pass within the field of our awareness. So too, when you walk out the building, it's still seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. Climb on the metro, it's still seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. Get to the airport, same. Climb on a plane, it's still seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, remembering, imagining. The plane ride happens in the field of awareness, just as this room does. So in truth, we never really go anywhere. We're always exactly here. Rather, the world comes through our mind. You never go anywhere. The world passes through your awareness. It's a bit of a strange thought, but reflect, consider. Everywhere you've ever been in your life, from early childhood to now, has always been here, regardless of the geography. You were always here, at the center of the world. In essence, none of us go anywhere. The world arises, takes shape, and dissolves. in this mind, this field of awareness. Just as the Buddha said to Rohitasa, you can't get to the end of the world by walking, but unless you get to the end of the world, you won't get to the end of suffering. Where is the end of the world? Right here, in this awareness, this awakened knowing quality, this vidya. This is where the world ends. Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, it all arrives here, ends here. As there is a watching of the mind, as a recognition of what we call outside or inside, these are arbitrary definitions. Whether it's a memory that we call inside, or a sound that we call outside, it's all known right here, with the same quality of awareness. Whether it's beautiful or ugly, painful or pleasant, neutral, coarse or fine, pure or impure, it all happens here. It's all known right here. Now, this isn't just a mind game or a clever trick to play on yourself, but it's a way of establishing an easeful, peaceful attitude towards the experience of our lives, the work that we do, the places we go, the people that we talk to. There's nowhere to get to. It all happens here. There's nothing that can be owned, possessed. All sankharas are not self. Impermanent, unsatisfactory. Sabbe sankhara anicca, sabbe dhamma anattati. All conditioned formations are in a state of change, they're uncertain, unsatisfactory. All dhammas, the conditioned and the unconditioned, are not self, not who and what we are. Personal qualities arise, are memories. Memories of unique events that only we know about. But still, what is it that knows that memory? If it's my memory, what does the me look like that is the owner? Does it have a shape, an age, a gender, a nationality? Or is it just a knowing? A knowing of that memory. A knowing of that feeling of owning that arises and passes away. So nothing can be owned and nothing can be lost, because nothing was owned in the first place. The Dhamma cannot be diminished by any mind state that arises or passes away. Can't be embellished, can't be diminished. The Dhamma is just this way. And when the heart is truly awake and open in this fashion, then essentially there is Dhamma aware of its own nature. What aspect of your body and mind is not part of the natural order? You didn't invent awareness. You didn't invent hearing and seeing, smelling, tasting, touching. They're not personal. Every aspect of this body, this mind, is part of the natural order. Dhamma niyamata. They follow the laws of Dhamma. Dhamma jati, born of the Dhamma. Dhamma titata, established, formed according to the Dhamma. So when those personal self-centered habits fall away, then this quality of awareness, which is an attribute of Dhamma, is knowing the flow of sound and feeling, thought, emotion, ideas, memories, sensations, as they arise, take shape, and dissolve. The Dhamma aware of its own nature. That's it. When the grasping stops, when the identification stops, that's what is present. Then the self-creating habits can jump in and say, I am the Dhamma aware of itself, that's what I am. That's the true me, the real Atta, the real Atman is this. But that's just the thinking mind jumping in and making a claim. If there's wisdom, then that quality of awareness will know, here's the habit of self-creation, jumping in and conjuring up a me who is something, a me who's got something, a me who's become something. Let go of that too. No need to claim anything, no need to be anything. Let the mind be awake, aware, knowing. Don't have to be a woman or a man. Don't have to be a layperson or monastic or a Buddhist. Be awake. When the Buddha was walking through the countryside, a Brahmin called Dona saw the footprints of the Buddha in the dust of the road and was amazed. The size of the footprints and the patterns made by the marks on the soles of the Buddha's feet is perfectly round, wheel-like shapes and other patterns that were there. So he followed the footprints off the edge of the road and found the Buddha sitting under a tree. He was very struck by the quality of peacefulness, serenity. So he knelt down in front of the Buddha and waited till he had his attention. He said, "Excuse me, but are you a Deva?" He said, "No, I'm not a Deva." "Are you a Brahma god?" "No, I'm not a Brahma god." "Are you a Yaksha? Are you a heavenly demon?" "No, I'm not a Yaka." "Are you a human being?" "No, I'm not a human being." "Then, please, Venerable Sir, please tell me, what are you?" He said, "Know me as one who is awake. Buddhosmi. Buddhosmi." This is one of the reasons why we use the word Buddha to describe this great being. Even when he's asked the question, "Are you a human being?" he says, "No." He's incapable of lying. But when asked the question, "Are you a human being?" he says, "No." Remember me as one who is awake. Well, why would the Buddha say, when he's asked the question, "Are you a human being?" how could he say no? Well, in another teaching, a dialogue between the Buddha and Vacchagotta, the Buddha explains, he said, that material form, that body, or feeling, perception, mental formations, consciousness, whereby one who is trying to describe the Tathagata would describe him, that has been cut off at the root, made like a palm tree stump, deprived of the conditions for existence, and rendered incapable of arising in the future. Vacca. The Tathagata is liberated from being reckoned in terms of form, feeling, perception, mental formations, consciousness. He is profound, immeasurable, unfathomable, like the great ocean. So there is a quality that is present, profound, immeasurable, unfathomable, but you can't define that quality in terms of the body or perceptions or thoughts or feelings, ideas, shapes. Doesn't apply. The mind of the Tathagata has totally abandoned any identification with the five khandhas. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana. Cut off at the root, made like a palm tree stump, deprived of the conditions for existence, and rendered incapable of arising in the future. It's gone. The bridge is down. He's let go. The heart is not limited by the world of forms, identity, time, three-dimensional space. Those don't apply. But that quality, that awareness, is present. That wakefulness is here, present. So this can be frustrating to the thinking mind, but if the quality of wisdom, satipanya, mindfulness and wisdom is developed, then it's recognized how that works. That which knows the person is not a person. That which knows this body, these thoughts, these feelings, these perceptions, sensations, ideas, those personal experiences and patterns arise and pass away, but that which knows the person isn't a person. It's profound, immeasurable, unfathomable, like the great ocean, but it's not a man, it's not a woman, it's not English, it's not a monk or a nun or a layperson. There's no nationality, no age. It's awake. It knows. That's all.